Yeah, and Lilly Allman joins us now. Hey,
Woo!
Lilly, good to see you.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, real quick, the videos content that you're doing here, are you all by yourself, or you've got a little bit of a team over there?
I'm recruiting some help as I need it right now. My brother's been helping me out. My sister helped me out. So yeah, if I need someone to hold the camera, I go and find them.
Yeah, nice. Okay, great. All right. Well, I want folks to know a little bit more about you and stuff. So I want to ask, like, what got you into politics and following this kind of stuff? I mean, what is it about a? And I won't ask your age. I'll be polite, but we know you're you're a young 20 something. But what is it about politics and what's going on in the world that got you engaged like this?
hmm Well, it was really 2020 for me. So it was just when everything was going down and it started to be where I had to understand what I believed and articulate what I believed. Like if you were going to go to the grocery store and someone was going to fight you about wearing a mask, what are you going to say? Why are you going to say it? So that's kind of what made me start paying attention, and it's been a whole a whole deep dive since then. So um, yeah, that was kind of the tipping point. But since then, it's been so fun learning about American history and philosophy and conservatism. Like, what are we trying to conserve? And it's been
Yeah.
fun to learn how to have better conversations with people. So, yeah, that's kind of what keeps me interested in all this.
Yeah, that's great. And we see you here. You went to AmFest. We showed this video last week.
hmm
When you during your education now, when you are you said like COVID sort of woke you up. You're trying to figure out what your rights mean, where do they come from, and all that stuff. What has been one of the more interesting things that you've discovered about rights or about your history or anything like that in this country?
Mm. Well, it's all interesting, but I guess the most important part is that rights are God given, and so they're the whole point of America is that it's supposed to defend what we were born with, basically. And so once you realize that, you start looking at all these extraneous rights that people are coming up with and inventing, like the right to free healthcare or the right to food or whatever it is they're coming up with these days. But um, yeah, our rights are really basic, and America is actually it's supposed to be protecting some very basic stuff. So it's fun to be able to get back to those roots because it really uncomplicates things.
Yeah, good point. Obviously, Turning Point USA is a big youth organization, and it looks like was that your first venture out to one of those events? And how long have you been involved in at least paying attention with Turning Point and then I want to ask you about folks your age that you meet there and their issues and stuff. But tell me a little bit about your involvement with Turning Point.
Yeah. So I went to AmFest last year. I went in 2023 and 2024. It's so fun. It's my favorite event of the year now. And as far as Turning Point goes, I did start a chapter with some friends last January, so a year ago. And that's been really fun. Just kind of the Turning Point name brings people together who have similar vision for America and who are kind of united in a similar purpose. So it's been really helpful having a Turning Point chapter because people see it and they instantly recognize it and they're like, oh, they're doing what I want to do too. So yeah, that's kind of been the extent of my Turning Point involvement.
Right. And what are the biggest issues among folks your age right now? Like, what are you guys looking at? Is it, I mean, are you worried about the crippling deficits in Social Security, or are you more worried about the border, or I mean, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
What's top of the
Hmm.
line?
Yeah, that's a good question. I know the border is a big one because that's a really obvious hole in the bucket. Like, if we can patch the border, then we can start fixing some other stuff. But people my age are really struggling to buy a house.
Hmm.
A lot of my friends live with their parents for financial reasons because it's just not practical to go out and try to get something for yourself. So, yeah, I think we're really looking forward to the Trump economy and hopefully we'll see some improvements there. Yeah, that's kind of the big one.
Yeah. What is the perception of Trump among folks under in the 25 and under crowd? Because or around that crowd, because I think, like, for someone like me, I'm older, Gen X guy. Like, I grew up knowing Donald Trump as a real estate developer. He did a lot of interviews. He had Art of the Deal and all this stuff. And then he became a reality TV star. And that was kind of like, oh, of course he would do reality TV, but he was always around. He was always a celebrity.
Hmm.
And then I know that, nowadays it's like there are some people that may be 15 years old that only know him as a president. So it's kind of
Yeah.
bizarre to kind of see that. So where do you fall in line, and what is the perception of folks when they look at Donald Trump?
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely never knew his name until he ran for president for back in
Wow.
2016.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, I guess I just see him as someone who's willing to go against the status quo. Um, and yeah, some people think he's old. Some people are like, "Oh, I wish we had Vivek Ramaswamy so that we could get some young blood in there." But I don't think that way. I think it's great to have old guys in office because they've already seen it all.
Mm.
I think that wisdom's really important. So, yeah, people
Yeah.
people love Trump, especially because he'll say what we're thinking. He doesn't have the air of a typical politician who kind of tries to gloss things over and redirect your attention. He's pretty upfront, and he really cares about people too. He was actually at AmFest, so he took the stage on the last day there, and he invited several people up on stage with him, and he would just like step back and give them the mic, and you could just tell that he was treating people with a lot of care, which was just really amazing to see. So I think we're very fortunate to have him.
Yeah, that's great. So now, before we let you go, when you compare Trump and what you like about him, what do you see in Idaho? Do you see anybody like him? Do we need that here in state politics? What do you think of our
Mm.
politicians in Idaho?
I think we have an interesting mix. We have a lot, like I just said in my video, we have a lot of amazing legislators. And what's interesting about them is that they tend to be people who come from nowhere. Like they just kind of stepped up because they saw a need, and so they want to fill the need. Um, so people like Scott Herndon or Heather Scott, or yeah, we have a lot of great people up north. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think overall, um, we can only benefit from more grassroots type leadership, because then you're not disconnected from the people, and you actually are accomplishing what the people want, and you're more connected to reality too. It's not like you're up here in the political world and you're like, oh, I think the people want me to do this, and they would probably like some more programs or whatever. Yeah, I think it's great when you can get someone in office who doesn't forget where they came from.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, when the grassroots steps up, and whether they get into the political arena or they start doing what you're doing, which is helping educate people in a fun way, and connecting younger folks into the political world and keeping them informed. It's really important, especially with like you said. I mean, people are trying to buy a house, or trying to afford things, they're trying to get out, live their American dream on their own, and it's really
Mm-hmm.
hard right now to do that. So, all right, well, what can we expect from you in the coming weeks? What sort of projects are you working on?
Oh boy, I can't say anything for certain, but I can tell you that I'm going to be working hard to make some more fun stuff. I have a whole list of ideas. We're just going to have to see which ones win out. So,
Yeah.
no promises, but yeah, just keep checking back because I'm sure it'll be fun, whatever I end up doing.
Yeah, for sure. And this is the fun time right now, because the legislature just got started. There's really not much for us to do except sit here and pay attention and be like, we're going to be watching, and then
Hmm. Hmm.
really get rolling in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, we expect a lot of cool, fun stuff from you, Lily. Thank you so much for coming on today, and I'll let you get back to it. Oh, where can
Awesome.
people
Thanks,
follow you?
Matt.
At the no
Oh,
at
yeah,
in
yeah.
the know Idaho. Yeah, where are you most prevalent? Where do you put all your stuff?
Yeah, so I mostly post on Instagram. That's where we've got the biggest kind of community over there. But we're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on YouTube. So yeah, whatever works for people. But Instagram's where you're going to see most of the stuff.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks, Lily. We'll check back in with you. We'll look forward to the next video.